It's the biggest news in the world. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, in hospital with COVID-19. There have been conflicting reports today about how he's doing. The White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, said Trump has had a very concerning period on Saturday and that the coming days will be critical in his battle against the virus.
The biggest thing that we see is that with no fever now, and with him doing really well with his oxygen saturation levels, we yesterday morning we were real concerned with that. You know, he had a fever, and his blood oxygen level had dropped rapidly. And I'm very, very optimistic based on the current results. And as the doctor said, he's not out of the woods the next 48 hours or so. With the history of this virus, we know can be tough, but he's made unbelievable improvements from yesterday morning when I know a number of us, the doctor and I, were very concerned.
The team at Walter Reed Hospital has painted a more positive picture of Trump's condition. They said they were extremely happy with his progress.
The first week of COVID, and in particular days 7 to 10, are the most critical in determining the likely course of this illness. At this time, the team and I are extremely happy with the progress the President has made. Thursday, he had a mild cough and some nasal congestion and fatigue, all of which are now resolving and improving.
White House physicians say Trump's symptoms include a cough, nasal congestion, and an initial fever, which they say he no longer has. But we know from medical experts that the worst symptoms of COVID-19 can hit around day 7 and 8. It's an unpredictable virus. So far, Trump appears to be holding up well. Here he is, reassuring Americans he's okay while in hospital in a video he tweeted today.
We're going to beat this coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it, and we're going to beat it soundly. I'm starting to feel good. You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days. I'm doing well. I want to thank everybody. Our First Lady is doing very well, Melania, and Melania is handling it statistically like it's supposed to be handled. And that makes me very happy, and it makes the country very happy.
And you can see he looks more pale than usual in that video, and you can hear a bit of the congestion. Trump's family have all tweeted their well wishes. Ivanka Trump tweeted, "Praying for the swift recovery of my father and Melania and for all those impacted by COVID-19. As they fight this together, the president will continue to fight for the great people of this country." Meanwhile, his son, Donald Trump Jr., has also tweeted, "No one is tougher than Donald Trump, and I look forward to him and FLOTUS beating this fast. I thank you all for your prayers. Please know that it means the world to us, and that even yesterday he was working hard for the American people." Now, as part of Trump's treatment, he has been given a single dose of an antibody medicine. It's an experimental cocktail for treating COVID-19, and he also continues to take the drug remdesivir. The president's physician released this update to Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary. It stated, "This evening he completed his second dose of remdesivir without complication. He remains fever-free and off supplemental oxygen." With the presidential campaign in full swing, the US media has immediately started examining just how dismissive Trump has been of the coronavirus. And the New York Times has already published an article claiming that the president didn't like people wearing masks at the White House. Joining me now to discuss this is former political operative Barbara Heineback, who served in 2 White House administrations, including as press secretary to a First Lady, the wife of Democrat President Jimmy Carter. She was also a strategic consultant to the Clinton White House and held a high Secret Service clearance as a staff White House presidential appointee. Since then, though, she seems to have had a political change of heart. Barbara, welcome to the program. The president getting coronavirus was always going to be a very significant national security issue. But of course, it's an even bigger story now that he's been hospitalised right bang in the middle of the presidential election campaign. How significant is this, and how do you think this could change the course of the campaign?
Good question. I have no idea how it's going to change the campaign. Anytime a president goes into the hospital, it's a huge concern for the nation and of course, to a degree, for the world. First, I want to just wish everyone, not just Melania and the president, Hope Hicks, everyone in the world who's had this disease, who's lost a loved member because of COVID-19. We know it's an invisible enemy and quite a scary thing. When a president goes into hospital, things are put on halt to a degree. Of course, he's in a suite of offices there at Walter Reed where he can still work. Things seem to be going well. But what we do know is he does so well on the rallies. And with him not being able to be out on those, he appeared to be a man who never slept. And so, you're supposed to drink lots of fluids and get a lot of rest. He might be behaving on one of those, the fluids, but we know that he's not getting a lot of rest even now. He's been talking to people and taking care of quite a bit over the last day from what we've heard and people that have, spoken to him today. So we'll see how things go for the country.
Yeah, the reports are that he has been on his phone the whole time and that he's been constantly working, or at least that's the impression those close to him want to give out. Barbara, the White House coronavirus cluster so far includes the President, the First Lady, Senator Mike Lee, Senator Tom Tillis, the RNC Chair, Ronna McDaniel, obviously the White House advisor Hope Hicks, 3 White House journalists, along with Kellyanne Conway, Bill Stepien and Governor Chris Christie. How did this White House outbreak start?
I don't think anybody knows for sure, because the first name we heard was Hope Hicks, his aide. But there are a number of people now, and as you said, even Kellyanne Conway, who used to be a White House staff member, a senior advisor, and she resigned to be with her family and her youngsters at home. About 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I'm not sure. No one is, quite sure. I haven't heard anyone pin down just how it started and the individual that might have brought it in or how that happened. He does so many rallies. He's around so many people every day and doing usually a couple of rallies a day. So this could have been something picked up from a rally. It might have been picked up there at the White House from a visitor, even though everyone's checked. I haven't heard anyone confirm knowledge on that.
It's almost surprising he hasn't had it so far, given he hasn't been wearing a mask and has been to so many rallies. But he's made such an effort, Trump, to keep COVID-19 off the campaign agenda and focus on other things. Of course, the fact he's been diagnosed with the virus and is in hospital makes it the #1 campaign issue. How do you think this is going to affect the campaign and the topics that are focused on during the campaign?
I still believe, Sherry, that the 3 main topics are going to be COVID-19, the demonstrations and all the destruction that's happened from one end of America to the other. And now the third layer that I think is going to supersede that, it's going to be this nomination of the Supreme Court. How he does on COVID, that is more than topical at the moment, yes. And, hope and pray that he overcomes this and he'll be up and running in the next few days. If he doesn't, we'll have to look at what that means and exactly what his status is at that point. But right now, I think, you think of America, what made America have so much success over the years? It's a 3-level, I call them the 3 big C's, and they are: we were built on Christianity, the United States Congress, and capitalism. And then our level of governance is the actual judiciary, the congressional, and the executive. Well, the judiciary, the Supreme Court, the executive, which is the White House, and then the congressional, which is the Congress and the Senate. But the main focus right now, I think more than anything, what Washington is zeroing in on is this confirmation, actually, of the new nominated Supreme Court justice. And so whether or not Coney is going to be confirmed, and it seems as though she will be, but it will depend on, are they going to do virtual votes or whatever with 3 senators, 2 of whom are on the Judiciary Committee, how that voting will go and will it take place I believe the date is October 12th.
Okay.
That they want to do that.
Barbara, just before we have to go, I just want to ask your view on the reaction from some Democrats to the news that the president has COVID-19. Have a look at this. This is a now deleted tweet from Hillary Clinton's former spokeswoman, Zara Rahim. She actually says, it's been against my moral identity to tweet this for the past 4 years, but I hope he dies. She's saying she hopes he dies from the coronavirus. Isn't this attitude completely uncalled for?
It's a new level of low. And I think I'd hope, and I may sound naive on this, but I truly believe everyone needs to lift the level of nastiness and acrimony up, not one small notch, but extremely, to try to be civil and be respectful of one another, and remember that they are they are in positions of setting an example. And even our last debates, the first debate, that was pretty despicable too. So it's time for everyone to raise the bar and be more respectful of one another. And how anyone could say things like that and some of the nastiness that we've heard. You respect the office even if you don't care for someone's politics.
Absolutely.
That's how I grew up.
Absolutely. Barbara Heineback, thank you very much for joining me and for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure to be with you tonight. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.